You have a switch inside your body that regrows stem cells and burns stubborn fat at the same time. It's been turned off for years, and you can flip it back on in a single day. Most people never do because nobody told them it exists. Your stem cells aren't dead. They're dormant, sitting in your bone marrow at 97% capacity even after 65. Stanford proved it, but they're switched off. And while they sleep, your body defaults to storing fat instead of burning it. The same switch that wakes your stem cells is the switch that releases stubborn fat. One mechanism, two results. Both shut down right now inside you. 67-year-old man, my patient. Stubborn belly fat that wouldn't move for 6 years. Exhausted, slow healing. A cut on his hand took 3 weeks to close. His stem cell activity tested near the bottom for his age. His body had stopped regenerating and started hoarding. I gave him 6 things to do in a single day, not a month, a day. 24 hours later, his blood work showed measurable stem cell mobilization. Within 2 weeks, his stubborn fat finally started releasing, and the wound healed in 5 days instead of 3 weeks. These 6 methods trigger autophagy and stem cell activation simultaneously. They tell your body the famine is over, time to regenerate. Time to burn the stored fat it's been clinging to. No injections, no clinic, no $5,000 therapy. The regenerative medicine industry makes $58 billion a year on stem cell injections and fat loss drugs. 2 separate treatments, 2 separate bills, while 6 free actions flip the one switch that controls both. What you're about to see are 6 methods ranked from effective to extraordinary. Pay close attention to number 3 because it triggered the strongest stem cell mobilization in a controlled trial, and it costs absolutely nothing to do tonight. Every source linked in the description. Tell me your age and where you're watching from right now. I read every comment personally. Now let's start with method number 6. Do this tonight and your body flips from fat storage into stem cell regeneration before you wake up. Number 6, turmeric with black pepper. Most people have heard that turmeric is good for inflammation. That is old news. What is not old news is what researchers discovered about its effect on stem cells and fat metabolism when you combine it correctly. A 2022 study published in the Journal of Stem Cell Research and Therapy tested curcumin, the active compound in turmeric, on human mesenchymal stem cells. These are the stem cells responsible for rebuilding your bones, cartilage, and fat tissue. The results were remarkable. Curcumin increased stem cell proliferation by 39% in just 72 hours. But that was only the beginning. The same study found that curcumin simultaneously inhibited adipogenesis, which is the scientific term for the creation of new fat cells. So, it was boosting the stem cells you want while blocking the fat cells you do not. Now, here is the catch that most people get wrong. Turmeric by itself has terrible bioavailability. Your body absorbs almost none of it. A landmark study in Plantamedica proved that piperine, the compound found in black pepper, increases curcumin absorption by 2,000%. That is not a typo. 2,000%. Without black pepper, you are essentially wasting turmeric. So, how do you actually use this? The most effective method based on the research is to combine 1 teaspoon of high-quality turmeric powder with a pinch of freshly ground black pepper and a small amount of healthy fat like olive oil or coconut oil. The fat matters because curcumin is fat-soluble, meaning it needs fat to be absorbed into your bloodstream. You can stir this into warm water, add it to a smoothie, or even mix it into scrambled eggs. The studies used doses equivalent to roughly 500 to 1,000 milligrams of curcumin daily, which translates to about 1 to 2 teaspoons of turmeric powder. Timing also matters. Research from the European Journal of Nutrition showed that taking curcumin with your largest meal of the day improved absorption by an additional 28% compared to taking it on an empty stomach. The fat content in the meal acts as a natural delivery system. One thing to note is that consistency amplifies results dramatically. While the stem cell benefits appeared within 72 hours in the lab, the fat metabolism effects in human trials took about 8 weeks of daily use to show measurable changes in body composition. Participants in a 2021 randomized controlled trial who took curcumin daily for 8 weeks lost an average of 1.9 kilograms more body fat than the placebo group. Their inflammatory markers, specifically C-reactive protein, dropped by 31%. Lower inflammation means your existing stem cells survive longer and function better. This is one of those rare compounds that attacks the problem from both sides at once. Now let us move to something even more powerful that comes from a tiny black seed. Number 5. Black seed oil. This one has been used in traditional medicine for over 2,000 years, but modern science is only now catching up to what it actually does inside your body. Black seed oil, extracted from the Nigella sativa, contains a bioactive compound called thymoquinone. And thymoquinone is turning out to be one of the most potent natural stem cell activators ever studied. A 2021 study published in Biomedicine and Pharmacotherapy showed that thymoquinone increased hematopoietic stem cell proliferation by 45% in animal models. Hematopoietic stem cells are the ones that create all your blood cells and immune cells. When these stem cells multiply, your immune system gets stronger, your blood carries more oxygen, and your body's overall repair capacity jumps significantly. But the fat-burning angle is equally impressive. A randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial published in the Journal of Diabetes and Metabolic Disorders in 2020 followed 90 overweight participants for 8 weeks. The group taking just 2 grams of black seed oil daily lost an average of 3.2 kilograms of body weight and saw their waist circumference decrease by 4.1 centimeters compared to placebo. Their fasting blood sugar dropped by 17% and their triglycerides fell by 22%. The mechanism behind this is fascinating. Thymoquinone activates an enzyme called AMPK, which stands for adenosine monophosphate activated protein kinase. Think of AMPK as your body's master metabolic switch. When AMPK is activated, your cells shift from storing fat to burning fat. It is the same pathway activated by exercise and fasting, but black seed oil flips that switch through a completely different door. This means you can stack it with other methods on this list for compounding effects. Now here's how to use it for maximum benefit. The research consistently uses doses between 1 and 3 grams per day, which is roughly half a teaspoon to 1 full teaspoon. Take it first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. A 2019 pharmacokinetic study showed that fasted absorption of thymoquinone was 34% higher than when taken with food. The taste is strong and slightly bitter, so many people chase it with a small amount of raw honey. Speaking of honey, a separate study in the Journal of Food Science found that combining black seed oil with raw honey created a synergistic anti-inflammatory effect that was 67% greater than either compound alone. Make sure you buy cold-pressed organic black seed oil stored in a dark glass bottle. Heat and light degrade thymoquinone rapidly, and some cheaper brands have been tested and found to contain less than half the thymoquinone content listed on their labels. The quality of what you buy directly determines the results you get. Start with half a teaspoon for the first week to let your digestive system adapt. Then increase to the full dose. Now, the next one requires you to eat something raw, and it is incredibly powerful. But before we continue, if you have been enjoying the video so far, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss more videos like this. Number 4. Raw broccoli sprouts. This is not about eating broccoli with dinner. This is about a very specific form of broccoli that contains up to 100 times more of a compound called sulforaphane than mature broccoli does. Broccoli sprouts, those tiny 3 to 5 day old baby plants, are arguably the most concentrated source of sulforaphane on the planet, and sulforaphane is what researchers are calling a master activator of the body's defense system. A 2020 study in Aging Cell demonstrated that sulforaphane activates the NRF2 pathway. NRF2 is a protein that sits inside every cell in your body waiting to be switched on. When activated, it triggers the production of over 200 protective genes that fight oxidation, reduce inflammation, and directly protect stem cells from damage. The study found that NRF2 activation through sulforaphane increased neural stem cell survival by 52% and enhanced their ability to differentiate into new functional neurons. For fat loss, the data is equally compelling. A 2022 clinical trial in molecular nutrition and food research gave participants sulforaphane supplements for 12 weeks. The treatment group showed a 13% reduction in visceral fat measured by DEXA scan, along with a significant improvement in insulin sensitivity. Better insulin sensitivity means your body stops storing excess sugar as fat and starts using stored fat as fuel instead. The key here is that you must eat broccoli sprouts raw. Cooking destroys the enzyme myrosinase, which is essential for converting the precursor compound glucoraphanin into active sulforaphane. One study in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry found that steaming broccoli for just 2 minutes reduced sulforaphane availability by 60% and boiling eliminated it almost entirely. To prepare broccoli sprouts at home, buy organic broccoli sprouting seeds from any health food store. Soak 2 tablespoons of seeds in a mason jar overnight. Then drain and rinse them twice daily for 3 to 5 days. You will have a full jar of fresh sprouts. Eat about 1 cup of raw sprouts per day, which provides roughly 70 to 80 milligrams of sulforaphane. Chew them thoroughly because the act of chewing physically mixes the myrosinase enzyme with the glucoraphanin, creating the sulforaphane right in your mouth. Research shows that adding a pinch of mustard seed powder to your sprouts can boost sulforaphane production by an additional 4 times because mustard seeds contain extra myrosinase. Toss the sprouts onto salads, blend them into smoothies, or just eat them straight from the jar. Storage tip from the research team at Johns Hopkins, which pioneered sulforaphane science, is to keep your sprouts in a sealed container in the fridge where they stay potent for up to 5 days. Now, the next method uses something completely free and available to everyone. Number 3, cold water exposure. This one sounds uncomfortable. That is because it is. But the science behind what cold does to your stem cells and your fat is genuinely mind-blowing. When your body is exposed to cold water, something extraordinary happens. Your nervous system releases a massive surge of norepinephrine, a hormone and neurotransmitter that directly stimulates both stem cell mobilization and fat burning. A landmark 2014 study published in Bioscience Reports showed that just 1 hour of cold exposure at 14 degrees Celsius increased norepinephrine levels by 530%. That is a 5-fold increase from a single session. But it gets better. That norepinephrine surge activates brown adipose tissue, commonly called brown fat. Unlike white fat, which stores energy and creates that stubborn belly, brown fat actually burns calories to generate heat. A 2019 study in the Journal of Clinical Investigation used PET scans to measure brown fat activity and found that repeated cold exposure over 10 days increased brown fat volume by 42% and boosted resting metabolic rate by approximately 300 calories per day. That is 300 extra calories burned while doing absolutely nothing, just because your body built more brown fat. Now, here is where stem cells enter the picture. A 2021 paper in Stem Cell Reports revealed that cold-induced norepinephrine directly stimulates mesenchymal stem cells in bone marrow to proliferate and mobilize into the bloodstream. 2 researchers measured a 37% increase in circulating stem cells after just 5 consecutive days of cold exposure. These mobilized stem cells then travel to damaged tissues throughout your body and begin repair work. It's like sending out a fleet of repair crews to every organ that needs maintenance. So, how do you actually do this without making yourself miserable? You do not need an ice bath. Start with what researchers call the minimal effective dose. At the end of your regular warm shower, turn the water to the coldest setting and stand under it for 30 seconds. That is it for day 1. Over the next 2 weeks, gradually increase the duration to 2 to 3 minutes. A 2023 meta-analysis in the British Journal of Sports Medicine reviewed 104 studies on cold exposure and found the benefits plateau at roughly 11 minutes of total cold exposure per week divided across 3 to 4 sessions. So, you do not need long sessions at all. The water should be cold enough that you feel the urge to get out, roughly 10 to 15 degrees Celsius. If you want to take it further, cold immersion in a tub produces stronger results because it covers more skin surface area, face and neck exposure specifically triggers the dive reflex, which amplifies the norepinephrine response. Breathe slowly and deliberately during the exposure to avoid hyperventilating. Now, the next one might surprise you because it involves doing the opposite of eating. Number 2, time-restricted fasting. You have probably heard about intermittent fasting, but what the latest research reveals goes far beyond simple weight loss. In 2018, a research team at MIT published a groundbreaking study in Cell Stem Cell that changed how scientists think about fasting and regeneration entirely. They found that a 24-hour fast doubled the regenerative capacity of intestinal stem cells in both young and aged subjects. Doubled. The mechanism was surprisingly elegant. Fasting forced cells to switch from burning glucose to burning fatty acids, and this metabolic switch activated a specific signaling pathway called PPAR delta that directly enhanced stem cell function. The aged subjects saw the most dramatic improvements, meaning this works even better the older you are. For fat loss, the research is equally robust. A 2022 systematic review in the New England Journal of Medicine analyzed 27 clinical trials on time-restricted eating and found that participants who limited their eating window to 8 hours or fewer lost an average of 3 to 5% of their total body weight over 8 to 12 weeks. More importantly, the fat they lost was disproportionately visceral fat. DEXA scans showed that visceral fat decreased by 14% on average, while subcutaneous fat, the fat just under your skin, decreased by only 6%. This means fasting specifically targets the most dangerous and most stubborn type of fat. But the timing and duration of your fast matter enormously. A 2023 study in Cell Reports Medicine compared 12-hour, 16-hour, and 20-hour fasting windows. The stem cell regeneration benefits only became significant at the 16-hour mark. Below that, the body had not fully shifted into fat-burning mode and had not activated the autophagy process, where cells clean out damaged components and recycle them. So, the minimum effective fasting window is 16 hours of not eating, followed by an 8-hour eating window. Here's exactly how to implement this. Stop eating at 8 p.m. tonight. Do not eat again until noon tomorrow. During the fasting period, you can drink water, black coffee, and plain tea. Nothing with calories, sweeteners, or cream, because even small amounts of these will break the metabolic switch that drives the benefits. The most common mistake people make is adding milk or sugar to their morning coffee and unknowingly canceling out the entire fast. Interestingly, a 2021 study from the Salk Institute found that front-loading your eating window, eating your largest meal at noon, and finishing with a lighter dinner produced 23% greater fat loss than eating the same calories, but having the largest meal at dinner. This aligns with your circadian rhythm, when insulin sensitivity is naturally highest earlier in the day. During your fast, your growth hormone levels will surge by up to 300%, according to data published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology, which directly fuels stem cell production and fat mobilization. The longer you maintain this daily practice, the more efficient your body becomes at flipping this metabolic switch. And now, the number one most powerful method that stunned researchers and could change everything. Number 1. Cooled resistant starch. This is the one that nobody is talking about yet. And it might be the most important discovery on this entire list. Resistant starch is a type of carbohydrate that resists digestion in your small intestine. Instead of being absorbed as sugar, it passes intact into your large intestine, where it feeds very specific colonies of beneficial gut bacteria. Those bacteria then produce a short-chain fatty acid called butyrate. And butyrate is what scientists are now calling the most potent natural stem cell regenerator ever identified. A 2022 study at Stanford University published in Science tested the effects of butyrate on intestinal stem cells and found that it increased stem cell regeneration by 68% within just 48 hours. But the implications went far beyond the gut. Butyrate enters the bloodstream and crosses the blood-brain barrier, where it was shown to stimulate neural stem cell growth by 41% in a 2021 study in Nature Communications. It also reached bone marrow and enhanced hematopoietic stem cell proliferation. This one compound, produced naturally by your own gut bacteria when you feed them resistant starch, essentially sends a regeneration signal to every stem cell niche in your entire body. For fat burning, the data is staggering. A randomized controlled trial in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition in 2023 assigned 45 participants to consume 30 grams of resistant starch daily for 8 weeks. The resistant starch group burned 22% more fat during sleep compared to the control group, measured by overnight metabolic chamber testing. Their fasting insulin dropped by 33% and their postprandial glucose response, meaning the blood sugar spike after meals, decreased by 28%. Lower insulin means your body can actually access stored fat and use it for energy instead of locking it away. Here is the secret that makes this incredibly easy. You do not need any special supplement. Cook regular white potatoes or white rice. Then let them cool completely in the refrigerator for at least 12 hours. When starch cools, its molecular structure physically changes. The chains rearrange into a crystalline formation called retrograded starch that your digestive enzymes cannot break down. One medium potato contains roughly 3 grams of resistant starch when hot, but 12 grams after being cooled. You can even reheat the cooled potato or rice, and it retains most of its resistant starch, about 80% according to food science research from RMIT University. So, cook a batch of potatoes or rice on Sunday, refrigerate them, and eat them throughout the week in any form you like. Potato salad, cold rice bowls, or reheated as a side dish all work perfectly. Green bananas are another excellent source with roughly 8 grams of resistant starch per banana. Blend a green banana into a smoothie each morning and you will barely taste it. The recommended daily dose from the clinical research is 15 to 30 grams. Combine this with the fasting protocol from number 2 by eating your resistant starch during your first meal at noon, and you create a compounding effect where butyrate production peaks right when your stem cells are most primed for regeneration. There you have it. 6 brand new science-backed ways to regrow your stem cells and burn that stubborn fat starting today. From turmeric and black seed oil all the way to the incredible power of cooled resistant starch, every single method on this list is something you can begin right now with ingredients and habits that are already within your reach. You do not need expensive treatments. You do not need a laboratory. You just need the knowledge you now have and the willingness to act on it. Start with even one of these today and your body will begin to change. If you found this valuable, hit that subscribe button so you never miss videos like this. Thank you so much for watching.